Hi everyone, welcome back to Essy Cooks. Let's do another vegetarian meal prep for the week. So we are going to make breakfast, lunch, dinner, and even a batch of our own homemade peanut butter. But you can make whatever parts work for you. Get inspiration from this, make what you like. We're going to make a high protein banana bread baked oatmeal for a breakfast option. So delicious. I tried blending it up this time for something different. And for dinner, we're going to have this delicious marmalade glazed tofu with mashed potatoes and steamed vegetables. So good. And then for lunch, we have this amazing lemony chickpea orzo pasta salad with asparagus and dill. It is so bright and zippy and perfect for spring and summer. And then we made a huge batch of all-natural peanut butter, which, like I said, you don't have to make that, but I'm going to show you really quickly how I did make that, and you can let me know what you think. Look at all the food we have prepped for the week. Meal prepping can be hard in the moment, but it is honestly such a game changer to set you up for the week. So we're going to start with a big bag of peanut butter. Our food processor can only handle 4 cups at a time. A few peanuts spilt, but that's totally fine. We'll just pick those up and throw them right into the food processor. So food processor, a high-powered blender, you can actually make your own peanut butter with just unsalted, plain roasted peanuts or just plain unsalted peanuts. So we throw them in, turn the food processor on, and just blend until it turns into a nut butter. Now, depending on your food processor, you might have to pause, scrape down the sides, get it going again, pause, scrape down the sides, get it going again. You might even want to add a touch of oil, such as peanut oil or coconut oil. If you like, you can add a little salt to it. You can add a little sugar to it. I'm just making it plain peanuts. Honestly, it tastes so much better than the store-bought. So much better. I got this food processor for Christmas this year, and it's been such a game changer. I've been making homemade peanut butter ever since, and I wanted to show you all how you can do it too if that's something you're interested in. Look at that. Smooth, thick, creamy, delicious. I did a comparison side by side, and I would say this fresh stuff is so good. The store-bought doesn't even compare. Sometimes I'm like, no, it's not worth the effort. Just get store-bought. But in this case, I really do think it's worth the effort if you have the food processor. So now Mika's gonna get a little taste test.
Yummy.
Okay, on to the next. Now I am gonna make that baked oatmeal, that banana bread baked oatmeal. So I'm gonna start with 2 cups of quick oats. Like I said, I'm actually blending it this time because I wanted to change up the texture. 3 tablespoons of flax. You don't have to blend it if you don't want to. You can just throw it right into the baking dish. Now, 2 cups of plant milk of choice. Usually I'd use a protein some kind of protein milk, like soy milk, something like that with a bit more protein, but I didn't have any this week and that's fine. Now I'm already using that homemade peanut butter, so I've got a 1/3 cup of all natural peanut butter. I'm adding that in as well. That's going to be so good in here. Now, like I said, if you're not blending it, you will have to mash up the banana right into that baking dish that I have to the side there. So up to you on that one. And you can find all these recipes on Essy Cooks, plus so many more meal prep recipes. So now I'm going to add 2 bananas that are super ripe. Riper the better. It's going to be sweeter and add more flavor. I'm going to add a teaspoon of just cinnamon for lots of nice flavor in there as well, and a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. My mother-in-law has actually been making homemade. You can make it homemade, pure vanilla extract. So good. So as soon as I'm done this one, I'll be using her homemade batch, which is so exciting. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of baking powder. That's just going to really help it fluff up, rise, everything like that. And I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt in there and a 1/4 cup of pure maple syrup. Just, again, to give it a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more of a banana bread vibe. Now, because the base of this is oats, of course it's not going to taste like if you bake something with flour. It's a different texture, so I just want to let you know about that. Now you can add protein powder to this as well, but we're going to be having protein smoothies, so I just didn't even bother. But sometimes I will add 3 to 4 scoops of protein powder into the mix as well, just to up that protein content. But like I said, because we're going to be having protein smoothies as well, I wasn't too worried about it. Now we're going to pour that right into the baking dish, preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and then we're going to bake that for around 35 to 40 minutes or until it's cooked all the way through. But of course, we're not done. We need to add some chocolate chips to this. So I'm just measuring with my heart here. I'm going to mix them right in, and then I'm going to put some more on top. a quarter to half a cup, however many chocolate chips you like in there. I'm going to put some in the middle, and like I said, I'm going to just drizzle some right on top for looks as well, because looks are important too. Sometimes we don't have time to make everything look beautiful, but you know, these little touches, they do make your food taste better somehow. So now I had a third banana, which I'm actually going to slice up and put on top of the baked oatmeal. So just placing it on there like that, I think just adds so much to it. I always remember my grandma slicing up bananas for me and arranging them in a cute way on my cereal or whatever she was giving me. So it brings back really nice memories. Now, of course, another taste test for my girly there. And we're going to get that baked oatmeal right into the oven. Now, this one, I don't think I did this whole meal prep myself and my husband in less than an hour. I think it took a bit longer because the oven and the timing and everything like that. But it did really set us up for the week. Now, I've got potatoes here. I'm going to use one medium, about russet potato per person, per serving. I'm making 8 servings, so I needed about 8 potatoes here. Now, some of them are Yukon Golds, some of them were russet. I'm cooking them together. It actually turned out okay because that's just what I had in the house, and I like to use up what I have. And you can do the same. Customize your meals, use up what you have in the house. Now I'm just pressing a little bit of water out of the tofu. I had them frozen and they're not fully thawed, but that's okay. I'm going to move ahead. I'm not going to let that stop me. So I've got 1.5 blocks of extra firm tofu per 4 servings. So I'm using 3 blocks for 8 servings. Hope that makes sense. Once again, the recipes for these are all on essycooks.com under meal prep, so you can totally find them there as well and follow along. See a little bit of ice there, but I cut them into 10 slices. That's about how thick they're going to be. Now I'm going to make my coating. So I have cornstarch. I have nutritional yeast. I'm going to be putting lots of nutritional yeast. I'm going to put up the measurements for that all up on the screen for you as well. Lots of nutritional yeast is going to add extra vitamins, B vitamins, everything like that, and a little extra protein. So yay. Now I'm going to add in some paprika. I only had smoked paprika, but honestly, I love the flavor. Now I'm going to add in some Italian seasoning blend, and I'm going to add in some garlic powder, and of course, I'm going to add in salt and pepper. So you can just season that to your own taste. I'm going to whisk that all together once I've got everything ready, and I'm going to be coating my tofu in that. You don't really need to put anything on the tofu. It's just going to automatically stick right to this mixture, which sounds weird, but you'll see what I mean when I do it here. So now we've got a large baking sheet, and I lightly grease that with a bit of olive oil so that the tofu is not going to stick. You could use parchment paper as well. I think the olive oil adds a nice little bit of flavor. So for this, we're going to want the oven preheated to 400 degrees, and these are going to bake for about 20 minutes at 400. So just keep that in mind. It's a different temperature than what the oven's at right now for that oatmeal bake. Now, just kind of brush them. I don't know what happened to my R there. Just kind of brush them in this coating, and if there's a little bit of extra, you can just brush it right off. They don't need to be heavily coated. You see what I mean? You can just kind of flick that right off the tofu there, and then place it right onto the baking sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that with all of the pieces. So basically I tripled my original recipe because I have 3 bricks of tofu here. So I'm going to get my husband on the job because I'm going to be working on something else. So you can see that's a nicely greased baking sheet. He's going to be breading them all and just throwing them right onto that baking sheet. Then we're going to make the glaze once those are in the oven, and the glaze is what really makes it. I'm in the background there chopping up some carrots. We're going to need half a cup of vegetables per serving for this meal. So they can be any vegetables you like that you want to steam. I was just using what scraps I had left over in the house, so that was carrots, broccoli, and peas. So that's what I'm going to be using, but use any vegetables you have. This is totally customizable, which is what I love about it. Now, the oatmeal bake is almost done. I'm just going to throw those in to get them started, but they will be baking at 400 for 20 minutes. Flip them halfway. Now, we're going to get started on that delicious marinade. I know it seems super weird, but we've got a jar of marmalade. I know, I was skeptical about this too. If you have leftover marmalade in the back of your fridge, this is the use for it. Now I've got my pot there. I've just covered those potatoes with cold water and a little bit of salt. We're back to the potatoes, and I'm going to boil those until they are cooked all the way through, until they fall off a fork. Now we're going to start with our marmalade here, and then we're going to add our Dijon mustard, and we're going to add soy sauce. You're probably like, mustard, jam, and soy sauce, what is this? No, don't worry. It's actually so delicious. The flavors really work well together. Just the sweetness of the jam and the orange. Think of it as a shortcut to or, like orange chicken, orange tofu. This is kind of a shortcut to that kind of a flavor. You just have to try this. Don't knock it until you try it. So I'm going to whisk that all together, and that is going to be our beautiful marmalade glaze. This is actually one of my favorite ways to eat tofu, and it just goes with any sort of, I know it's not meat, but meat and potatoes dinner. So you can make this and serve it with any kind of potatoes, rice, sides, whatever you want, stir fry. It doesn't matter. It's very versatile. That's what I love about cooking tofu this way. I have other tofu steak recipes. If you're like, this one is not for me, that's totally fine. I have a herb crusted one and a delicious veg gravy that you can put on top. So let me know if you want the recipe for that. I will send that right over in the comments. Okay, now I'm going to start just steaming those carrots until they're cooked. Next up, we are going to start working on the asparagus. This is for our pasta salad. So we're going to cut off all of the ends there. I thought I'd show a little behind the scenes of the filming equipment and everything that we have in here, because I love to see people's behind the scenes. I don't know if you do too. Now that we've cut off the ends, we're going to cut these into nice 1-inch pieces. This is one large bunch of asparagus. And then I'm going to put 2 cups of dried orzo. I'm going to cook that down as well. Now that is going to be, once again, for 8 servings. So just keep that in mind. We made up the lemon vinaigrette. I'm going to put the recipe for that down below as well. You can either buy a vinaigrette or you can make my homemade lemon vinaigrette. Totally up to you. Sometimes, there's so much going on that you just want to buy a store-bought dressing, and there is no shame in that. Yes, homemade vinaigrettes are great. They're delicious. They're better. But you know what? Sometimes there are some really good store-bought dressings, and if that's going to save you time and that's going to get you through your meal prep, do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes we just got to take a few, shortcuts that are going to make things easier so that we can eat healthy throughout the week. Now, it's been 20 minutes, and I'm just going to brush that glaze onto both sides of each piece of tofu. So you want to put that on both sides, and then we're going to throw it back in the oven for another 3 to 5 minutes. So make sure that those tofu pieces are nice and crispy like this. Look at how good those are looking. And they haven't even gone back in the oven yet. So we're going to throw those back in now. I'm just working on cooking the rest of my leftover veg here. I had some peas left over in the freezer. You better believe I'm using those up. All right, now I'm going to throw those back in the oven for 5 minutes. And oh my goodness, they're going to come out so beautifully. All right, back to the top of the stove here. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper to my vegetables. I mean, you can add whatever you like to them, but it's just kind of simple, but sometimes simple is nice. Every once in a while, I make a lot of complicated meals. Sometimes I just need something that's a bit more simple. Now, for the mashed potatoes, what I did was I threw a little bit of vegan butter on there, salt and pepper, a 1/4 cup of plant milk, and mashed them up to my liking. You can make your mashed potatoes however you like, whatever your preference is. That's what I like to do. I left the skins on those potatoes. It's extra fiber, extra nutrients, and I personally really like mashed potatoes with the skin on, but if you don't, you can peel them. Also, the time it takes to peel potatoes, I just can't. I can't be bothered. Even if I didn't really like them, I'd probably just leave them on because look how much work we're doing here, and I have like full-time assistance here from my husband. I know meal prepping and cooking can be a lot of work, but it's so worth it to eat healthy, nutritious meals at home, save money, all that good stuff. Now we're going to cook that 2 cups of orzo al dente. Don't overcook it. And we're going to cook our asparagus in a skillet on a medium heat. Now any of that leftover glaze can go directly onto the marmalade tofu. Look at that. So good. Like I said, also this marmalade tofu goes so good with the rice and any veg. Back to the asparagus, we're going to cook that down until it's bright green, fork tender, and lightly charred. Now we're going to add a bunch of dill to the pasta salad. So I've got about a 1/4 bunch of dill. You can add as much as you like. I ended up adding more later on just because I love dill so much. It's so fresh, just spring, summer, just the best flavor. Now my pasta is cooked, but what I need to do is actually rinse that down with some cold water for a couple reasons. One, it's going to stop the cooking process. We don't want it turning into mush. We want to make sure that we keep that al dente, that little bite that you want in a pasta salad. Of course, you don't want it to be chewy and undercooked, so you're going to need to test those noodles and make sure they are cooked to your liking. Keep running it under cold water until now we can actually see the pasta noodles again and not just steam until it is fully cooled. You can stick your hand in there and check really quick if you need to. Make sure all those pasta noodles are cooled, and we're just scraping whatever was left. I think that's my husband scraping whatever was left in the pot right back into there. Let those cool, and now we'll let the water strain off. We don't want it to be watery either. Now you can see with that asparagus, look how vibrant and bright green. That is how we know that it's almost cooked. Once again, test a piece, make sure it's cooked how you like. Now I've got a large bowl here. I'm going to add that cooked, drained pasta right into the large bowl. And then I actually threw my asparagus in the freezer just to cool it for a minute, so it's not piping hot when I put it in here. Now I'm going to add in that chopped up dill. Like I said, add more if you like. It's pretty finely chopped. Sometimes I like some bigger pieces of dill as well. I just love dill. Okay, now we're going to add in some chickpeas. So I'm going to add in 2 cans because this is for 8 servings. And I'm going to grab that asparagus and throw that right in as well. This is such a seasonal dish. And this is not just for meal prep. I feel you could take this to a potluck, to a barbecue, to an event, whatever you like. Serve it as a side with your dinner, serve it for dinner, whatever. We're going to toss that up with the lemon vinaigrette that we made earlier. Like I said, recipe below if you want to see that. And we're just going to toss it up. You want to taste test. Make sure it doesn't need extra salt, extra pepper, anything like that. Now at this point, you can add in half a cup of feta or vegan feta to it to just give it a little something nice, something a little extra flavor, texture, everything like that. I'm going to top up each jar with a little bit of arugula on top. We're going to get in even more fresh, vibrant greens. Now look at the final result of the dinner option. So good with that marmalade tofu, and there's the full package deal. Look at how much food we made. We're really set up for the week here. Between the peanut butter and the dinner and the breakfast and everything that we made. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you loved this video, and if you want to see more videos like this that are meal prep, breakfast, lunch, dinner, the whole thing, or if you want to see more of the shopping videos and how I stay on a budget as well, let me know about that in the comments below. I have put out a couple budget videos as well, extreme budget shopping videos that are veg and vegan. Also, look at that beautiful pasta salad. So please let me know in the comments any thoughts you have, any questions, any content you would like to see more of. And once again, thank you so much for watching here today, and happy cooking.